saying that the Book of the Hopi, I don't know how many of you are familiar with this book, has been following me around for about a year. And I read it when I was maybe 30 years old, considerably older now. You don't need to ask how old that is. And the Book of the Hopi made me realize that there were ways in which we as Westerners and we as city people, because I grew up in a city, although I was born in the country, and came to Canada when I was 8. I couldn't even imagine what Canada was like or what Toronto was like, because I came from a very ancient town in Italy called Boiano, which literally translates as Oxford. And there are mountains all around. There's this beautiful river called the Inferno. And transplanted to Canada, I carried seeds with me. And when I read the Book of the Hopi in my 30s, I realized that what I had been doing as a child was reconnecting myself, or making sure that I was never disconnected with the earth. So can you imagine an 8-year-old, I wasn't quite 8 when I left Korea. I went for a year with my aunts. I had 3 or 4 of them, collecting all the... Yes, I tried to. I'll have to hold it up. Is it on?
It's on, but you have to hold the question.
I went around the town and other towns with my aunts, and I collected all the seeds that I could find. And I had no idea at that time that I would have a place to plant them. And my mother died this spring, and she still has flowers growing in her garden from those seeds that were planted over 50 years ago now. I mean, they're that old. So one of the issues that I have with the word reconnecting is that I've never been disconnected from the earth. Even when I was living in an apartment as a student, I had flowers on my balcony. People would look up and they would see sunflowers everywhere. So my way of connecting with the earth is through her gifts, which are the trees, the bees that come into my garden that I have, with workshops that I do. A few years ago, about 4 years ago, I became a diviner using the Dagara tradition of West Africa. I had met Maladoma Somé, whose work, I'm not sure how many of you know of his work started in New York with kids who were in gangs, and they were completely lost. And so he took them through a ritual of reconnecting, not only to their own hearts, but also to what was around them. He would take them to parks, and New York City has quite a few beautiful parks, even though all we think of when we think of New York City are high mountains that are called apartment buildings. Right? And he showed them that we can find nature as we open our hearts. And one of the things that I want to bring to you today is that as you connect with nature, or perhaps reconnect with nature, the heart opens. And what I'm learning as I'm rereading the Book of the Hopi is that exact gift, that when people are connected to themselves, then it's much easier to connect with others, and then to take care, to become the true caretakers that we are of this planet, which is really our mother. And how do we treat our mother? We all know how we treat our mother, usually not that pleasantly. There was an oil spill recently, and I saw the little animals in New Zealand, I think it was, the little animals just being destroyed by this. We aren't thinking beyond levels of greed, and the greed is causing all sorts of things to happen on this earth that we could very easily turn around if we stop thinking just with our head. So my message today is that reconnecting with the earth involves us reconnecting with our own heart. The heart is also part of nature. The earth has her own heart, And so as we reconnect with our own heart, then we can reconnect with other people's hearts. And there's a resonance that takes place as that happens. And that resonance will allow us to see things with both our imagination and with our intellect. And we need to put those two things together again in schools, in the work that we do, how we relate to students. In my work with creativity, for example, I have all the students talk about their connection to the earth. And we do a very ancient ritual that is currently called the Council of All Beings. And that helps us understand where we've gone wrong and how we go wrong. Thank you.